everybody, welcome back. This is part 2 of staging. So in part 1 we went over a lot of the do's and don'ts and some techniques, and now it's time to actually put those into practice. So I have a...
And yes, I know there's a glare on my dad's head, but too bad.
just ignore it or just go with it, okay?
That's what happens when this is overhead.
So I have a very nice Pachypodium bispinosum that my buddy Steve got for me last year in Palm Springs. I'm going to take it out of here. I watered this very thoroughly 2 days ago, so it's nice and healthy.
It even has a little flower.
It's got a flower. I will use my rhizotonic on their mix, so it is nice and healthy to mitigate the shock. So let's take this puppy out of here and see what we got under the soil. So I haven't seen it yet. And then I'm going to take it out, remove it. Oh, beautifully. When I packed this a year ago, I put it in very loose soil, so it would be easy to remove. And here we go, okay? It's not a massive one, but not everything has to be a massive specimen. This is a very nice little specimen. Now, what do you do from here? I've already cleaned it up a little bit, but now you have to, the most important thing is decide how you want to orient and in the pot. Do you want it upright? Do you want to have it leaning over? Do you want to set it this way? And then we need to select a pot. So if you follow me, Janelle, over here, I brought out a bunch of pots, and now we're going to see which one will work the best. Now that one does look pretty good because it gives me room. That one's good.
So how are you going to do it? Vertically or
I think what I want to do, I think I want to leave it cascading because I like the cascading look. So, but it's not cascading enough. So I think I'm going to just lean it back a little bit, maybe put a rock under here. But let's see how this looks. That looks good too. What do you think?
That's nice.
Well, wait a minute. What about this? So I want to have enough room to be able to stage it well, because it also has these roots over here that I might want to put a rock through.
So, I like that one so far.
So far,
or maybe the first one. I don't know.
Yeah, let's see. Now here's a round one. That looks okay. Oh, wait a minute. Wait 1 minute. Okay, here's our final choice.
Oh, I like that one, I think.
You think? This will give me a lot of room, but I don't want too much room. I don't want too much real estate to show either. But this one looks pretty good. I
like that one, I think.
Okay, let's use this one then.
Right?
Okay.
What do you like?
I think I like this one or the first one, but this one actually will work better. So you got to remember, when you select your pot, you always want to make sure that the pot doesn't overpower the plant, because the plant is the showcase here, not the pot.
Right.
And you always want a pot that flares outward, not inward, because in a couple years when you want to remove this, you want to be able to remove it easily. If it goes in, the roots are going to be, you're going to mess up the roots. So
and then you might have to break the pot.
You might have to break the pot, which you don't want to do. So that's a very natural, organic looking pot. So let's put that over here real quick. And then I have a screen that I'm going to put in the bottom like that. Okay. I'm going to put this right here. I'm going to grab some pumice. There's my bag of pumice.
We got quite a few questions about the soil mixture.
Okay.
Right? So
yeah, we always get those questions. So that's pumice. So I use EB stone, which is for cactus and succulents, and it has less organic, even though it says organic, it's less organic than any other one that I've found. And then I mix it with pumice, about 60% pumice. So there's my mix. You can see it's got all that pumice in there. So I already put my layer of pumice on the bottom, and now I'm going to put this in here like that. Give it a base. And now we're going to put this really nice Pachypodium. I really like this side. I like how these come off the side there, and they're actually attached. They're not separate. So when you stage it this way, and especially with an oblong pot, you have the opportunity. Actually, I think I like it just like this.
Oh, that's cool.
Because then you can turn it this way too and look at it from that side. See? But I like, it doesn't really matter which side. So you want to make sure you have enough exposed.
Of course it matters, Dad. What do you mean?
It does. Okay, so you want to get it about, maybe, I don't want to raise it too much because these little small roots have to be under the ground. This I'll clean up. So I think that is good right there. So now all I have to do is...
Okay, need help?
I do need some help.
There. Yeah, hold that for me. Yeah, let me put it up here. I don't want to waste a lot of time doing this because we've got to get to the next phase of really staging it with some rocks and some topping. So let's get this in here. I want to make sure I have this just right. Ooh, the screen. Okay, so let's
get this here like this. So you can see it's almost covered. Almost covered. Now, let me give you a couple of additional pointers. You have to decide if you want to use rocks. See, now it's fine. Where are you going to place the rocks in here? So if I put one here, I'm going to be blocking all of this caudex. So I may not. So I might just leave it just like this and not overdo it with rocks. And I want to cover, see this root right here? I want to cover that. I don't want that one out because I want that to grow and get, so it has to be under the soil. Remember, whatever you lift up, this caudex is going to grow very slowly now.
So it'll still grow just slowly.
Very, very, very slowly. Okay?
So what's the ratio of, just kidding, the ratio of growth?
99 underground, 1% on top, okay?
Really?
Yeah. So there we go. So now we have this in here. And again, don't pack it real tight because you want those roots to have be able to grow and get thicker without too much resistance. You don't want to pack it down real tight. Okay, so now that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
See, the pot doesn't overwhelm the plant. It works together. And we have a lot of real estate here. So let's go over to my rock selection area. And this is where I have the most fun deciding how and what rocks to use.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just have to select a few that I think will work. I don't want to overpower it with a big rock like that, even though that is amazing. Look at that. You have to be cautious in what you use. So here's a few. Here's another few. And again, I might go through this multiple times before I get the right rocks or the right orientation. So here's some rocks and we're ready to go. Let me put one over here to kind of hold it up a little bit. Give it some stability there. And maybe this one could go like that. And then one over here like that. And maybe one just like that. So there.
Nice.
That looks nice. Again, I'm not going to put any here because I don't want to obstruct the caudex. Now, here's the most important thing when you're staging, if you're going to use rocks. Now, if I didn't want to use rocks, I probably would have put this in a little smaller pot so I would have less real estate. But now here's the key with using rocks. So here's my topping. I'm going to put my topping on. And what you want to do, you always want to make sure that your rocks look like they're slightly buried under the topping. You don't want to just take your rocks and put it on top like that. Looks like something like you just dropped it on top. Right. You want to make it look like it's part of the landscape. You see? Just like this. And I'm using this small crushed lava. And, you know, I might look at this later and decide I want some different rocks or other rocks. And I do that all the time, even with my existing ones, because that's the fun part of it, is you get to change the look of your specimen. So there you go. That's something very simple. Now, here's some more tips. Don't water this. Don't water your plant now. I know you want to because you want to think it's good, but I watered it two days ago. So it's nice and healthy. It's a caduciform. It doesn't need to be watered probably for another week or so because I probably damaged some roots. So I have some open wounds and I want them to heal. So that's all you have to do. So select how you want to place your specimen. Select your pot that works with the orientation of your plant and that doesn't overwhelm the plant as well. And then use rocks carefully and strategically, so it looks like it blends in. Instead of using like some big white, you know, or gray stones, these kind of look more natural. And then just clean it off a little bit. Now, the other thing too is I raise this up a little bit. You don't want to put this newly staged, newly exposed caudex in the sun,
right, okay,
because you don't want it to burn. So this caudex over here and over here has never seen sun, so you don't want to burn it. So what I would do, you have two choices. You can put this in filtered light and slowly assimilate it into the sunlight, or what I like to do is just cover the bottom of this with some shade cloth and leave that on for about a week, maybe, and then remove it and then put it into some filtered sun just to make sure you're not going to burn it. And that's all there is to it. Simple.
Nice.
Now,
good.
doesn't that look nice? And again, you could have put it this way. I could have laid it down some more, but I wanted to get that cascading, I wanted to maintain that cascading look to the Pachypodium, and it's a bispinosum because you can tell by the flower.
Right.
It's a bell. It's not a pinwheel like a succulentum. And that's it. So it's not a big specimen, but it's a nice specimen and it looks cool. So let me hold this up and you can see it. Not overly done, not too many rocks, just enough to accent it. And again, what's the star of this? It's the plant. It's not the rocks, it's not the pot, it's the plant. So there it is, all together. And I will be happy to add this to my collection. And thanks to Steve for giving this to me. So I hope you guys got a good view of how I do my staging. And we'll take this out here. And so you can see it. Okay, let's go out here. And we'll put this over here. So it's not in direct sun, but I'll put it right there so you can see it. Now, if you want, what you can do is give it a little spritz so you really get to see it better.
Wow. What a difference. Just a little.
Just so I'm not spraying the roots, just the plant. So I hope you guys like it. And
I like it.
I hope that helps you with your staging too. So you see all this new growth coming up will eventually also just cascade over. That's just the genetic makeup of this particular specimen. So there you go.
Anything else you want to say, Dad?
No. Thank you so much for watching. Giddy up.
All right. That's all, folks.